What's up, y'all? It's your girl Kenzo for Life here, and today we're going to be talking about the Black Ops 7 trailer Backlash. Why so many dislikes? It starts with a bunch of wild, trippy visuals. The kind of cinematic so weird you'd never guessed it was for a military shooter. For a second, the whole gaming world was glued to the screen asking, what is this awesome, mysterious new game? Then the logo appears. Call of Duty Black Ops 7. And just like that, for a massive chunk of the audience, the hype train derailed, burst into flames, and tumbled off a cliff. The reveal for Black Ops 7 was one of the strangest trailers we've seen in ages, and it got more people who don't play Call of Duty to look up from their phones. But the moment everyone realized it was just another COD, you could practically hear a collective groan echo across the entire internet. The dislikes and angry comments started piling up, not because of the trailer itself, but because of what it represents. This meltdown isn't about one cinematic, it's the straw that broke the community's back after years of frustration, franchise fatigue, and a sinking feeling that a fresh coat of paint can't fix a rusty engine. So what actually happened? Honestly, the Black Ops 7 trailer was pretty cool on its own. A big budget short story film promising a mind-bending adventure. Activision and Microsoft dropped it during Gamescom Opening Night Live 2025, hoping for an explosion of instant hype. It definitely got views, but the mood that followed soured faster than milk in the sun. Lots of people, even non-COD players, were sucked in by the bizarre psychedelic scenes. We're talking floating islands and a giant machete falling from the sky. It felt fresh, but for most, seeing the Call of Duty logo was a splash of ice-cold reality. The problem wasn't the trailer's quality, it was the mountain of baggage the COD name carries. The reaction split the community right down the middle. You've got one side genuinely excited for a futuristic setting, and another very loud side that sees this as the same old product churned out by a franchise that's lost its way. What made it worse was a general distrust of the marketing. Some viewers got suspicious of the view count, claiming the trailer was being force-fed into ads to pump up the numbers and fake excitement. Whether that's true or not, it looked bad, and for an already cynical audience, it just added more fuel to the fire. Looking at the game itself, the big hook is the campaign. Set in 2035, it follows up on both Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 6, bringing back David Mason and, because villains never stay dead, Raul Menendez. The campaign, made by the solid teams at Treyarch and Raven Software, can be played solo or with 3 friends. It's all centered around the city of Avalon, which is back from Black Ops 6, and there's even a new endgame mode. That sounds great on paper, but the community has the memory of an elephant, and COD's track record with big ideas is shaky. The phrase open world is an immediate red flag for many players. Past attempts at non-linear levels like in Black Ops 3 and the recent Modern Warfare 3 were dragged for feeling empty and repetitive, completely missing the awesome tightly scripted action the series was built on. Rumors are flying that many missions will take place on Avalon, with some suggesting the map was originally a leftover from Warzone. This has sparked fears that the campaign will feel less like a gripping story and more like a bunch of co-op chores on a recycled battle royale map. Treyarch is promising a mind-bending story, but players have heard that one before. The general feeling is a cool trailer is nice, but we'll believe the open world co-op as fun when we see it. To understand why the Black Ops 7 trailer landed with such a thud, you have to remember the game that came right before it. Let's be honest, Black Ops 6 was not a hit, and its ghost is haunting this announcement. A lot of players were already annoyed before this trailer even dropped. Black Ops 6 was a mess of complaints. Players were sick of a matchmaking system that felt designed to punish you for being good, a never-ending flood of cheaters, and a feeling that the game was abandoned right after launch. The devs eventually put out a statement saying they heard the feedback on cheaters and servers, but for many, it was like putting a band-aid on a shark bite. Because of all that, announcing a direct sequel just 1 year later felt like the developers were just ditching the last game's problems instead of fixing them. It's giving everyone flashbacks to the Modern Warfare 3 situation where it felt like we paid full price for an expansion pack. Treyarch swears they had a grand vision for both games, but nobody's buying it. When you feel like last year's complaints were ignored, it's hard to get hyped for next year's promises. The Black Ops 7 Backlash is basically a delayed reaction to Black Ops 6. Okay, so besides the campaign and the Black Ops 6 baggage, the real question is anything actually new? Call of Duty is always fighting off claims that it's the same game every year, and Black Ops 7 has to prove it's not just a reskin. It's bringing back the Omni movement system from Black Ops 6, which lets you sprint and dive in any direction. Treyarch says they're evolving it with new tactical moves. But is an evolved system really enough for a whole new game? The 2035 setting lets them add cool tech, but they're steering clear of the jetpacks and wall running from Black Ops 3 that split the fan base in half. They're basically trying to walk a tightrope. Be futuristic, but not too futuristic, and please don't make anyone mad. The game is also launching with new modes and a ton of maps, including some remakes of Black Ops 2 classics, which is basically the break glass in case of emergency for game developers. Even with all that content, the community is so tired of the formula that the big worry is whether it will feel different. After all these years, players want a revolution, not just a new coat of paint. Black Ops 7's success depends on whether its tiny tweaks can overcome the powerful feeling that we've all played this game before. Finally, the backlash is being powered by something even bigger than gameplay: the war over silly outfits. There's a huge fight in the community over the goofy and neon-colored operator skins. Some players love the absurdity of it all, but another very loud group says it shatters the immersion. It's hard to take a tactical military shooter seriously when you get eliminated by a guy dressed as a giant hot dog. For years, fans have begged for a simple toggle to turn off the crazy cosmetics and just see normal military skins. Heading into Black Ops 7, the developers have only said they're paying attention, which is corporate speak for no promises. This just makes people feel like the game's look is being driven by whatever sells skin bundles, not by any artistic vision. This trust has been worn down in other ways too. All the talk about using AI to help make games has players worried that it will lead to lazy, low quality assets and devalue the work of human artists. Even if the devs say AI is just a tool to speed things up, any hint of quarter cutting looks bad to a community that already thinks the main goal is to sell them stuff. When that's how your audience feels, you've lost the benefit of the doubt. So, what's the verdict? Is the internet right to be mad about the Black Ops 7 trailer, or is this a massive overreaction? Are you hyped for a co-op campaign, or does COD's open world history give you nightmares? Let us know what you think down in the comments. The story behind the Black Ops 7 trailer isn't simple. It's a tangled web of problems that have been building up for years. The trailer wasn't bad, it was just the spark that finally lit the powder keg. Players are exhausted by the annual ritual of hype, disappointment, ignored feedback, and a release schedule that clearly favors quantity over quality. Franchise fatigue is at an all-time high, and the sour taste of Black Ops 6 has made everyone a skeptic. Treyarch and Raven Software have promised a huge game-changing experience, but they're fighting an uphill battle against years of cynicism and burnout. Releasing on November 14, 2025, Black Ops 7 needs to be more than just a good game. It needs to convince a tired and jaded fan base that this time, for real, this time, things will be different. It has to rebuild trust and prove it's a real step forward, not just Black Ops 6.5. We'll have to wait and see if they can actually pull it off. And until next time, you guys, thanks for watching and stay frosty.